I'm grateful for everybody here. I'm grateful for the center. I'm grateful for Patricia and Jessica. They said yes to a call. They said yes to a vision, which is Soul Center, where we come to get soul-centered. If you're here for the first time, I'd like to welcome you to Soul Center. My name is Reverend Keith, and we are part of the Agape Association of Communities. We're an Agape affiliate. What does that mean? It means we're part of the New Thought teachings that seek to express and experience the truth teachings found in all sacred texts, in all sacred scriptures from around the world, but not from a dogmatic point of view, but from a mystical point of view, which is the intention of Scripture. Scripture is to lift us into the realm of the mystical being that where that was the one that all of us know that we are born in the image and likeness of God. And what does that mean? It means that in the realm of matter, this is the physical world, in the realm of matter, we get to play. We get to play with form and contrast. We are here to create. We are here to create and have an amazing time. So we ask that everybody participate in the evolutionary unfoldment of your soul. Your soul is guiding your personality into the effulgent experience of joy. We're here to have joy. We're here to create. Sometimes we associate that with purpose and mission, but we are here to claim that. So we know certain things. We know God is omnipotent, all-powerful. God is omnipresent in every space and place. If you go to Mars, God is there. If you go to Saturn, God is there, or any other galaxy. If you turn within, God is there. And actually, that's the most potent place to be, is to turn within to the secret place of the Most High, and allow yourself to commune with Spirit. That was written in small print on the user's manual of being a human being. You had to read that, you had to catch that, you have to turn within, commune with Spirit, so that you can be the omnipotent and the omnipresence of God in the world and experience joy, because that's actually what we're here to do. We're here to experience joy. We are here to make sure that our experiences do not define us, but that we define our experiences. That is a huge, huge knowingness, a huge truth that we are going to be exploring this morning. And our theme, as we're into March, hope everybody enjoyed your extra day yesterday that made the year 366. It's good. We're in March now, and we're ready to kind of take on our theme, which is from the darkness into the light. And we know that the darkness plays a great role in our experience and our expression in life, and we'll get to that in a moment. Today's theme, or topic, is radiating relevance. Every one of us is here. Each one of us has a purpose. Whether you know it or not, you have a purpose, and it is deeper and it is more profound than your personality or your surface mind will ever be able to come up with. But when we surrender from using 10% of our awareness or our consciousness, and we open up to the realm of 100%. When we let go of control, because the ego it likes to control things, it likes to keep it small, it likes to keep it tight, it likes to follow rules. When we open up, when we move into the void, as St. Dionysius would refer to it, that the void, the darkness. So we want to remember that there's two types of darkness. There's the darkness that is associated with despair and the human experience, which is associated with separation from the divine. There's that type of darkness, which can take us into a dark night of the soul. Sometimes we can have a dark night of the soul, which is so debilitating. Dark night of the soul is simply one of the most extreme experiences of our separation from the divine, where we feel the signs of a dark night of the soul are depression, anxiety, stress, and loneliness. Those are the signs of a dark night, and when they're really turned up, they can be pretty devastating. And having been through several, at least a half a dozen dark nights, some of them were dim, some of them were really dark, and some of you have heard me explain before about a dark night. But that kind of darkness, the darkness of despair, is usually meaning that there's a lot of resistance to something that wants to birth through you. There's something that wants to rise up and it wants to express, and it's good and it's magnificence, But sometimes we just don't trust it and we don't believe it. So all that resistance creates the anxiety and the stress and the depression that keeps us feeling separate from the divine. And then there's the darkness of the void. There's the darkness where when we turn within, we move into the darkness that is expressed in science as the Big Bang. Because in the beginning was the light. And when we talk about the Big Bang, we're talking about the law of creation. The Big Bang, where, if any of us takes a moment to think about it, we all know what happens from when the Big Bang happens. It happened, and there was this big bang that came from the smallest, most infinitesimal, that smaller than the tip of a pin, into expression, and the light came, and we know that all of a sudden, all of creation, all of matter started to take form, and the planets and the galaxies, and then over millions of years through evolution, the spirit unfolding itself into matter, humans came onto the scene, and then we were able to embody our own divinity and start to play with matter. We are microcosmic expressions of a macrocosmic magnificence that is seeking to play with matter, play with form. But when you think about it, it's like, okay, what about before the Big Bang? What was behind that? And so that's a big concept to grasp, and science hasn't really grasped it yet, but spiritual law and spiritual principle starts to show us the way as we turn within. So the Big Bang is always happening. It's happening all around us. We participate in the Big Bang in our own microcosmic experience. So when you were born, that was a Big Bang. All of a sudden, there were these elements that came together and birthed themselves into matter as you, as me. Those cells came together, they started to multiply and replicate just like the Big Bang of the cosmos. When that all started to multiply and replicate into what we call planets, and we all know, science has proven, that we all have the energy of the cosmos within us. That stardust energy is within us. We're connected to the all and the all of it. That's what science knows, and that's what spirituality knows, and we are this beautiful nexus place where it all comes together and we start to understand the language of truth. And then the next Big Bang is that what we're here to create. We're here to create and make sure, as it said again, it was in the small print of your user's manual, and it said to make sure that you don't let experiences define you, but you define your experiences. And from a Zen Buddhist kind of viewpoint, that means we don't become attached. We don't become attached to the past. The past and the present and the future, they are here because in order to experience matter, things that have taken shape and form, we need to have time and space to have something to see it upon. So it would be like when the flower is a seed, and the seed is planted in the soil, and then all of a sudden all the elements come together, and the potential that's coded in the seed starts to unfold itself as matter into time and space. And then all of a sudden, so you could go, what if you were, if you remember in I don't know, maybe Aladdin or Bewitched or whatever it is, where you could just go, boom, or that's that Dream of Genie, I guess. And I know I'm dating myself. But all of a sudden, boom, there's a flower, it just comes out of nowhere. And it's like, or you have this beautiful where you can see the germination, where the seed cracks open, and then the stem begins to rise and the flower begins to unfold. Well, you don't have that expression of matter if you don't have time and space. But you have to remember that time and space create the backdrop for the illusion for us to experience and express things that take place in matter, and that includes this body. Our temporal bodies are the place where we get to experience the light of God through us. But we know, and a lot of us tend to think like, God, it's kind of crazy to me, but some people are like, we're always striving to live longer, as though our soul would ever die. The soul is eternal, our beingness, that we are to God as the ray of light is to the sun, as the drop of water is to the ocean. We are that to the divine, eternal, magnificent beings of light. And so we're to zero in and find that divinity, and to do what it states in Scripture, and to be able to understand the language of truth and the language of life that you can find everywhere. And as we were talking about last week, about George Washington Carver and how he just left a beautiful roadmap of how you commune with spirit and how you allow things to unfold, how you commune with being in time and space but being outside of time and space when you're unattached. So what creates our problems, so to speak, or the challenges in life, is when we let the world of effects determine our experience. And when we make choices, and when we have judgment. So here's the crash course. Our belief system, which belongs to time and space, it belongs to the realm of matter, it belongs to the realm of contrast. Where we have our belief system, which is a database coded within our beingness of all the decisions and all the definitions we've ever made. Most of which you don't remember. You don't remember what you ate for lunch last Tuesday, let alone what you've got coded in your beingness as all the choices. Do you remember the choices that you made on January 23rd? Can you tell me all the choices that you made on that day, both conscious and unconscious? Because remember, you make more unconscious choices throughout the day than you make conscious choices. A conscious choice is, oh, I'm going to go to lunch with so-and-so, and I'm going to drive there as opposed to take public transportation. Those are conscious choices. But 90% of the choices you make, you just do. They're recorded in the database. You wake up in the morning, you get up, you go into meditation, you go and you get your tea, you do your affirmations and your prayer. Oh wait, I'm talking about what I do. I don't know what you do. But this is what, some of you I know go like this, you hit the alarm, and then you kind of drag yourself in, and you get the coffee that you shouldn't be drinking because it's acidic, and we don't want to put acid in our bodies. We'd rather have tea because it's not acidic, and you can still wake up with it. So just a little plug. I do have this party that's all about what's good for you. There's high vibrational food and low vibrational food, and we want the high vibrational food, but that's a whole other subject. So we're going to come back to what we do on a regular basis. On a regular basis, we want to check in and we want to commune with spirit. The whole idea, and you've heard me explain this before, but I never get enough of this. I never get enough of understanding the law of creation. The law of creation, the way God expresses into form, that brings things into the material realm. Unobstructed, the law of creation makes its way. There's an impulse. There's a divine impulse that we associate in the human realm with the law of emergence. And the law of emergence illuminates something. A light goes off within our beingness. A soul impulse, a cellular impulse wants to make its way down, and you become inspired. You become inspired with whatever that is, and it starts to make its way down further into your awareness, where it starts to make the first vestiges into the material world of matter, because you have to remember that not only are things and matter, but sound is part of the material world. So you might speak or you may write about whatever it is. If you just follow anything that comes into creation, this podium, somebody had an idea to make this podium. They had to capture the idea and they had to put it into form to bring it into the material world. So there's things within our beingness, and then it comes into, and then you speak about it, you write about it, you draw up the plans. And it's something that resonates with your heart and it makes your heart sing. Whatever it is, the law of emergence dictates that your heart will sing with joyous resolve as to whatever it is that is seeking to emerge from you, that comes from the very heart of God through your soul. So that drop of water to the ocean contains the entire blueprint, but there's something that wants to emerge, and that comes from the dark space of the inner world. This is the divine darkness, or as science is referring to it, the dark matter. They know that there's dark matter out there. There's something that's holding gravity, that's holding the planets, there's something, there's a wisdom, there's an intelligence that's out there that's holding that. So we're communing with that, unobstructed, and nothing from the past is interfering, and nothing from the future. If we're not holding on to anything from the past, then we won't project it into the future. We're clean. We're so clean. We have no issues in our tissues. We're just so filled with light. All of our relationships are amazing. Every relationship with every single person you know, every single person you know is amazing. You love everyone and they love you. You love everyone and you allow them to love you because there's no mechanism within your beingness that stops it. Because I'll have to tell you, if you're not feeling loved by someone, or if you're not feeling liked by someone, or if you're not feeling loved enough by someone, there's something within your own cellular memory that puts up a stop to it. It's going to be very tempting, and as we talked about last week, sometimes it's very tempting to think, well, oh, the world, so this is how the world of effects, affects my experience, is because if I develop a belief that, oh, that's what's going on, and that's what they're doing, and that's what they think, then that comes into my psyche and my awareness, and I develop that belief, and sometimes I develop the beliefs very strongly, because their beliefs, again, they're tied to a ratio. Beliefs are, so you can have a partial belief, you can believe in partial prosperity or full prosperity. Full prosperity knows that God is your source and your supply of all good all the time. And there's no limit to that good as financial freedom or whatever. So that you become aware that the world of effects is starting to infiltrate and influence you, and it's tying you to time and space. And the next thing you know, you've been bamboozled. You've been bamboozled into time and space, and we've lost track of the eternal. So we turn within into that dark space where the fertile field of creation is. In meditation, that's where we commune and connect with the divine. And it is beautiful and it is magnificent, and everybody came loaded and coded and wired with the ability to, because you're divine emissaries, harbingers, messengers of the light, and these and greater things you shall do, as Jesus said, because this is who you are. And you can avoid it for a long time, but you're eventually you're going to succumb to your magnificence. And that magnificence, it's often subtle. It's very subtle. A lot of times we think of things that are going to be big, and oh my God, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to solve world hunger, and I'm going to get in the fighting lines. And often, one of the best things we can do is if all you're doing is, if you're just living to love, you're going to love to live. That's the bottom line. If you're living to love in everything you do, and that's what we're headed toward, because we know that God is omniamorous, all loving, 24/7. And so that energy of creation is making its way down, uninhibited. All of your relationships are amazing. You have no issues with creativity. It's just a free flow of lucid divine awareness that expresses into form. You have wellness radiating throughout your body because everything is functioning from the light. There's no inhibitions, there's no constrictions. Remembering that the language of your body will tell you that which needs to set you free. The truth shall set you free. So if you want to understand the language of God, you commune with it, no matter what it is. There's nothing too big or too small to have a revelation over. And understanding the language of your body. Understanding, oh my goodness, that little headache that I had in the middle of my brow, oh, that came on right after I had this experience where I was fearful that somebody was doing something nefarious out in the world, that there was something against me, and so I started to not trust. And we know that this is the area of distrust when it's out of balance, but it's the area of trust when it's in balance. And we know that in the law of creation, we believe and then we perceive. The law of creation is we tap into the invisible and then we perceive it out into the world and we receive it back from the world. But oftentimes we're projecting things out that come through the filter of the belief, the mental body, which is where we store our belief systems and our definitions. And so we might believe that so-and-so doesn't like me or doesn't love me because when so-and-so does this, it pushes on a button from a time that I happened way back where I pulled the past into the present and I extended it into the future. And I've created my own little hamster wheel that I'm spinning on until one day you get tired of being tired. You get tired of not being loved. And in our community, what we ask in the New Thought community is that you're spiritually proactive. That you're spiritually proactive, that you go and you turn within and as we were talking about for the past few times that I've been here, that you reflect and you cleanse the energy. When you're reflecting over your day, your week, your year, you cleanse the energy and you get to be born anew. You get to return to in the beginning. And we know again, there is no beginning as related to time and space. In the beginning means the eternal. It means do-over. It means start fresh, because God is fresh and alive. So that energy, unobstructed, is coming down through you, and you get to experience the energies of divine cooperation, of what true prosperity is, because you have no prosperity issues, so everything flows in your life. You have no relationship issues, so you never, can you imagine, never again are you ever going to see someone and be like, never again, never again are you going to see somebody like, "Arr!" Never again, including yourself. You're going to look in the mirror and you're going to see the face and the light of God, but truly, not as like, on our way there. Sometimes we do our affirmations and we look into the mirror and we say them, and you look into your own eyes and you get to see the light of God, because we know the eyes are the windows of the soul, and they truly are. They're allowed to see Him, but you start to feel the mojo, because, most of you know that I've been doing this for about coming up on 19 years now, where my life, one of the first dark nights of the soul, is where I contemplated leaving the world. There was a part of me in my subconscious that didn't even know I was doing it, and then all of a sudden it got so dark and so depressive that I started having those thoughts. I'm like, well, and I actually explored possibilities of how to exit, but it was one of those things where spirit, there's a divine inertia that's always pulling you towards your goodness. There's a divine inertia that wants you to thrive. And so all of a sudden the universe came in and knocked me, gave me a wallop that woke me up and started to crack open. And then the journey began of healing. And we know that part of life is creation, as we were talking about the law of creation in its uninhibited form. The law of creation has that energy, that impulse that comes down, and it expresses into time and space so that you can experience the blooming of the flower and the crashing of the wave and the growing of the tree and the magnificence of life that is everywhere. And then all of the things that created filters where I couldn't see that. I couldn't see the trees or the flowers. I couldn't see the niceness or the goodness as much as I could, because those filters in my belief system were creating a fog over my ability to feel, see, hear, and know the truth. But willingness to set the right intention, the willingness to grow, to choose. Free will and free choice belong to time and space. They don't belong outside of time and space, because your soul doesn't need to choose against anything. It only operates from a place of absolute effulgent magnificence. So we want to live a place of radiant relevance, which is the topic for today. The radiant relevance means that you become radiant. The law of radiance means that you express the law of emergence uninhibited. You radiate your beingness out to the world, and you receive the energy back from the world into your beingness. And so sometimes we have to overcome, and we have to transmute the connections, the energetic connections to the past. We have to transmute them so that we may be free, so that the truth will set you free. The truth shall set you free means that all of the lies that I have coded in the database of my mental body are now brought into the truth. And when the truth reveals itself in your mental body and your belief system is returned to the beginning, then you have liberated yourself from the energetic connections to the past, and you no longer project them into the future. And so I had a client of mine who came in, and she was really, sometimes we get mesmerized by the condition. She was very much about wanting to have really quality relationships. And so she was focused so much on having this relationship. She wanted to meet her soulmate and get married. And that's all, she was just absolutely enamored with it. And it's like, okay, that's fine. But then when we sat down to do the work, I was like, okay, you start to dig in. You start like, okay, what needs to be transmuted from within your cellular memory, within the database of your beingness? What needs to be healed that you can allow that to come in? Because she had told me about this kind of like scattered trail of destruction that has led up to where it was like she was just done. She was tired of not getting what it was she was after. So first you have to find out, what is it that you're after? What is it that you're truly seeking? What is it that a relationship's going to give to you? because we want the truest, purest, holiest expression of that relationship, or those qualities of God that show up as a relationship. You don't want the person to complete you. You want them to complement you. And so we started to do a little bit of inner work, and we started to dig up, and it's like, oh, there's this whole database of unforgiveness in your mental body. We need to start cleansing it. Oh, no, I don't need to deal with that. I just need to, I am the prize. I am the prize. I am the prize means you got to take your vision out of a horizontal view and bring it up to a vertical view. The I am the prize is that the divine is going to guide you and show you how to have the most brilliant, complementary experiences. And then it took a lot of time. She was so resistant. She wanted, and I said, okay, so she's like, what do I do? What do I do to make this happen? And I said, well, what we're going to do is we're going to do this forgiveness exercise, and we're going to do these meditations, and we're going to come up with prayerful affirmations that come from a place of your heart and soul where you're embodied. Okay, but what do I do? She wanted like an app that was going to monitor her and tell her what to do, and she wanted like rules, and it's like, okay, I need a punch list. If I, and maybe more of a superficial way, I've received my soulmate. And it's like, but if you don't cleanse that which came before and move into a place of divine acceptance, then you are a house divided against yourself. And you are preventing the very thing that you would like to experience from coming into your beingness. So the choice is to set the intention that matches the desire, but you need to know what the desire is. If you've got a false pretense of what you think that desire is, if you've got the Romeo, Juliet, or you've got the Prince Charming thing going on, oh, they're going to come in and they're going to save me, oh my God, I'll be whole and complete and all that after that. And it's like, no, you're whole and complete right where you are, and then you're going to join together with somebody who's going to be your adventure partner, and they're going to so complement you, no matter what it is, whether it's a soulmate or a business partner, or your soul cluster, or your soul family, whatever it is, you want it to be congruent with reverence and respect and no attachments to the past. So we want to go ahead and we want to cleanse that energy, and we want to align with the law of irradiance. The law of irradiance. We want to have effulgent experiences. Effulgence is radiance. Effulgent experiences as opposed to external experiences. External experiences are where the external is influencing your experience. Effulgent experiences are where you're aligning with radiance and you're allowing radiance to happen through you. So we're going to do that right now. We're going to take a moment and we're just going to turn within. I'm going to invite you. We're going to kind of do a meditative, prayerful process. It'll be short, it'll be sweet, it'll be easy, and you'll like it. I promise. But you will. All right, so I'm just going to invite you to just turn within, and if you want to, you can either just bring your awareness to your heart, or you can bring your hands onto your heart center. Either way, we just want to bring our awareness to our heart center, and then I want you to bring your awareness to an open heart, allowing your heart to be benevolently vulnerable to the light of God, to the love of God, to the eternal magnificence and omniamorous nature of God. And as we move into a benevolent, vulnerable space of openness and divine receptivity, I'm going to invite you to imagine the most brilliant expression of the heart of God and feel it. Some people feel it or see it or experience it as a light overwhelming them, the light of God, the love of God pouring into their heart, washing over their bodies. We open into that. And I'm going to invite you to think of one of the most beautiful things you've ever experienced or you could ever remember. Just opening the heart into the realm of a beauty. It could be one thing, it could be more. Just think of something that you love that is just so beautiful. Allowing ourselves to connect even deeper with the heart and the love of God. We know love and God are synonymous. That bliss and grace and nirvana are the very essence of God. And then I'm going to invite you to imagine a beam of light or an energy flowing from your heart to the energy of your soul. To your soul. Wherever you may imagine that, however you experience it. Some people imagine their soul star, the energy of their 8th chakra combining with the energy of the heart. Just opening to the energy of your soul, that part of your anatomy that lives outside of time and space. And then I want to invite you to bring someone you love into your awareness. Bring them into your awareness as though they're standing before you. And I invite you to send a beam of light from your heart to their heart. A beam of light, loving them in gratitude for them. And connecting and creating a coherence of effulgence and love and appreciation between you and this person. And if it's more than one person, that's fine. And then I want you to bring to mind someone that you've had a problem with, or maybe irritates you, or frustrates you, or angers you. Somebody who's angered or frustrated you in the past, because it doesn't exist in the eternal. And I invite you to see them standing out before you, and again, it may be one person, it may be two or three. And I invite you to do the same thing, extend a beam of light. A beam of light from your heart to their heart, the light that lives outside of time and space, judgment or condition. We're creating a resonance. We're returning to the beginning, and the beginning is the light, and the beginning is the love of God. We open to that, and we begin to participate in transmutation. And then I invite you to bring your awareness back to your soul. And just become aware of your own divinity and the love you have for yourself. We know in the light and the love and the life of God that to love ourselves and see ourselves and know ourselves as God sees and knows and loves us is key. It is humble. It is not boastful. And so we open into a humble state of divine awareness, self-awareness, and we return to the beginning. And if you have your hands on your heart and you now want to bring them into prayer position, we take a moment as we move into the prayer field. We open our hearts, our bodies, our souls even more to the grace, the beauty, the light, and love of God. We allow ourselves to be overwhelmed with peace, overwhelmed with love, overwhelmed with beauty, overwhelmed with grace. We bring ourselves from the finite to the infinite. We bring ourselves in time and space into the beginning, into the eternal. We take a moment and we rest in the field of gratitude, knowing that something magnificent is always taking place, and it is our job to attune and to align with this magnificence. We open to this magnificence, and we allow it to empower us with optimism and faith, with divine expectancy that is not attached to time and space. It is attached to the eternal. We allow ourselves to connect with the radiant effulgence and the relevance of our heart, our soul, our purpose, our mission. I am truly grateful that as we surrender, the ease, the grace, the beauty, and the elegance of the Spirit, the Holy Spirit of God begins to have its way through us, to us, and for us. We allow it all to be. We give it permission. We use the mechanism of free will and free choice from time and space. We activate these energies, and we become aware that we are the blessed of the blessors. So we bless everything and everyone in a place of gratitude. We bless our friends, our family members, all spiritual communities, everyone around the world, that they feel safe, that they feel empowered, that they feel loved, that they feel prosperous, that they feel healthy and vibrant. These are the blessings we bestow, and these are the blessings that we receive. We say yes to this in a communion with Spirit, knowing that it is not me, but the divine Father, Mother, God within that doeth the work. We align with the law of creation. We express it into the world of effects, and we allow ourselves to be that which projects the magnificence of our beingness into that field. It is from this place of grace and gratitude, thanksgiving, that we surrender, we release the prayer, we allow it to fulfill itself, we let it be in acceptance, we say, so be it,
so be it.
And so let it be, so it is, Amen, Amen, Ashe, Aho, Shalom, Hotep, and Hallelujah. All right, not hard, super easy. Allow yourself to turn within, as we turn to the beginning, we're getting ready for our ushers to come forward. If you are watching us online, would you please go to soulcenteroc.com and scroll over to the donate. It is our time of conscious giving and tithing, remembering that tithing is part of the highest vibration of circulation. So you can also text. You can text to donate. You can text to donate at area code 669-342-2157 anytime. And as we here are going to go ahead and we're going to bring our tithing and bring it into our hands in preparation as we infuse the energy of blessings and blessings and the energy of circulation, knowing that God is our source and our supply. We let it be good, we let it be now. We give thanks for everything that allows our programs, that allows our building to come into form, that allows everything we need. We know that it is done, we let it be so, and thank you, ushers, as you go forward.